Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaste. Welcome to the 18th session of this course, Yoga and Positive Psychology for Managing Career and Life. This session is about Pratyahara. Pratyahara as the intervention for managing self and managing career. We are towards end of this course. In this run, there will be 20 sessions and this is 18th one. So, this is the right time for us to reflect on our journey and how this journey started, what was the context and how yoga and particularly Pratyahara fits into that broader context under which this course is offered. So, you might recall that in the very first session, so you might talked about two levels of competencies required to be successful in any career. There is one set of competency which is about expertise and experience, which is the threshold to enter any field, knowledge, declarative knowledge or procedural knowledge and functional knowledge about that field, and the assortment of basic cognitive competencies like memory, deductive reasoning. These are the threshold competency. These are not there. We cannot even enter in certain profession. However, to be successful in any profession, we also require other set of competencies, and these are recently identified. That is why these are also called 21st century competencies to be successful and to grow in any career. And in this category, we look at cognitive, social and emotional competencies which are of different kind, as we discussed, and as mostly they appear even in the performance appraisal systems. These abilities are pattern recognition, systems thinking, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-management, relationship management, empathy, teamwork, and our ability to connect with people and influencing without authority. So, these competencies which are called 21st century competencies are must for anyone to grow in any career. The high achievers in any career are found to have these competencies along with the threshold competencies. If we look at the more recent model, and one of the examples is a model given by Hooley and colleague about career growth skills. In the career management or career growth skills, they have in fact clubbed self management skills and career building skills. So, they have recognized that we can't actually distinguish the self management skills and career building, and self management are related to values, abilities, aptitude, and career building skills are related to our skills, competency, along with openness to learn, to motivate ourselves, keep us motivated and keeping the our team motivated, career self-efficacy. These are the career building skills. Self-management and career building skills now recognized to be clearly overlapping, and these result into discipline specific skills as well as generic skills. So, these two great findings, this typology, the threshold competencies and the 21st century competencies, as you might recall, is given by Boyadzis and his colleagues, and the framework given by Houle and colleague. They point out the importance of our ability to manage our emotions, our relationships, and these abilities are deeply connected to our ability to manage our body and our mind, and yoga is about that. So, in this context we are looking at various interventions. So, till now we have looked at ahar, at the physiological level. We can significantly alter and alter towards better experience of ourselves on a day-to-day basis, rather in a moment-to-moment basis. So, we looked about, so we discussed about ahar. Because of the long hours of sitting and the sedentary lifestyle, we naturally have developed the tendency to attract many ailments. How it can be prevented and how asanas can be great intervention to prevent those ailments and make us on the path of thriving. That is what asanas do, and that was discussed in the intervention in the previous session. We had 2 sessions on pranayam, because pranayam is an amazing intervention which is based on the breath work, and it is clearly connected to the physiology as well as our psychology. Today in this context we are looking at Pratyahara. Before discussing Pratyahara, we need to reflect on the nature of organizational life. Organizational life, which is the basis of our career management, is not only about good things. There is a suffering, there is anxiety in the organizational life. All these things can be clubbed in the form of organizational suffering. Associated with that, but may not necessarily be arising from that, but associated to that is dysfunctional behavior, abusive supervision, bullying. These are some of the dysfunctional behaviors at workplace. Workplace is not only about leadership, motivation, sound decision making, excellent project work. It is not only about that. It is also about people suffering because of loneliness, anxiety, sometimes lot of stress. Workplace is also having dysfunctional behaviors and resulting into dysfunctional relationships because of the abusive supervision, bullying, politicking, Machiavellianism, knowledge hiding. These are host of things which cause suffering and which result into dysfunctional behavior and dysfunctional relationships. To summarize all these points, we can look at these 2 factors arising from top management level, co-worker level and colleagues level or employee level. These factors can emerge from top management level when we see there is a struggle between the short term bottom line and long term health and employees well-being. So, that struggle arises from that. So, suffering can arise, result into organizational suffering. Many workers become party to or victim of unethical practices, and that creates unease, dissatisfaction, mistrust, guilt. All these are different forms of organizational suffering arising from that, generally from the top level management. Then suffering and dysfunctional behavior can come from co-workers in the form of poor communication, workplace incivility, political work environment and many of the other things like Machiavellism, knowledge hiding, passive aggression, so on and so forth. This can come from our colleagues at the employee level, at the personal level as well. So, the person at the individual level can also be the source of suffering in organizational context, organizational behavior and showing the dysfunctional behavior. Our inability to cope with change, that is my inability, that is person's inability, and but that inevitably results in certain kind of suffering. Issue of prestige, if I am too touchy about my prestige or I am too touchy about my self esteem, that can cause suffering. There can be reasons for family incivility, family responsibility, personal health, because of which we can suffer at organizational level. So, suffering can occur from all three levels. In this regard, of this suffering, the process is long drawn, but the key thing is that if I am able to distance even for few moments from my experience, there is a possibility that I can identify solutions or ways of dealing with suffering and dysfunctional behavior. The core issue and problem is that when we are part of the organizational life, we are not able to distance our situation and ourselves. Because of this deep attachment, we many times are not able to perceive things in clarity, and as a result we are not able to find the solution which is otherwise not very difficult to find. Pratyahara is an intervention to address this specific issue. Pratyahara helps us in creating a distance between my situation and myself. My situation can never be in my 100% control. My intrinsic situation can certainly have greater control. I can certainly have greater control on my intrinsic situation. But on the environmental situation, my control will always remain limited. It can never be 100% under my control. In the Hindi or Sanskrit, these terms are called manasthiti and paristhiti. Paristhiti, which is environmental factor and organizational suffering, dysfunctional behaviors, are all come in the environmental factors, can never be our control. But manasthiti can be in much greater control of ourselves. However, we should be able to distance from ourselves so that we can distinguish manasthiti and paristhiti. Pratyahara help us to distinguish manasthiti and paristhiti. That's why in the battlefield of Mahabharata, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhayo samo bhutva samaptam yoga uchyate. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjun, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Our ability to remain equipoised help us to strategize better, respond to the situations better, employ our creative faculty better. When Bhagavan Krishna says that be equipoised, he is not asking Arjun to remain neutral. He is not asking to be neutral. He is asking to have faculties so that you can draw within, reflect, and can come up with the right solution. And even before right solution, you can come up with the right perception of the situation, and accordingly you can find the right solution of the problem. Pratyahara sits right at the middle of the Bahiranga Yoga and Antaranga Yoga. Bahiranga Yoga is where practices can be seen from outside, means people can see we are following certain moral instructions, doing some purification process, performing asanas, performing breathing exercises or pranayam, and the Antaranga Yoga, which is difficult to validate from outside, which is dharana, which is concentration, meditation or dhyan, and samadhi. Pratyahara sits right between that. Pratyahara comes from the word prati, and hara. Prati means in response to, observe, opposed to or against. A denotes near or towards, and har denotes bring back properly. Together it literally means the act of collection or to step purposely in order to attain the right mode of consciousness in a more powerful way. Assimilating ourselves is the simple term I use to convey the idea of Pratyahara. Getting back within, assimilating our life energies so that I can reassess the situation better and employ my life energies in the right direction. According to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Pratyahara is a state of physical cutting and their respective objects. Swavishaya asamprayoge chittasya swarupanukar iva indriyanam pratyahara. Swavishaya, in the respective areas of dwelling of whom? Of the indriyas, of the mental faculties. Asamprayoge chittasya, and disconnecting the chitta and the moment of indriyas so that chit can dwell within. That is the process of Pratyahara. Next sutra says that tatah parama vashyata indriyanam. Regular practice of Pratyahara lead to attainment of greater control over the senses and functioning of organismic system. So, if we have to achieve dharana or dhyan, we need to go through Pratyahara. That is the clear instruction by Maharshi Patanjali in Yoga Sutra. Come back to Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita gives excellent practical definition of Pratyahara using the allegory or using the example of tortoise. What Bhagavad Gita says, yada sangharate chayam kurmonganiv sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya pragya pratisthita. When like tortoise which withdraws its limbs from all sides, he withdraws his senses from the sense object, then his wisdom becomes steady. So, Lord Krishna is giving example of tortoise, kurmonganiva sarvasha, like tortoise which recollects all its appendages within. Indriyani indriyarthibhya, in the same way the mental faculties, the indriyas as well as the action faculties, when they are assimilated, brought into within or is centered, in this process wisdom arises. Pratyahara was also mentioned in Upanishad, like Trishikha Brahman Upanishad says, Pratyahara being an introverted state of mind, detachment of senses from respective object, that is what Pratyahara is, detachment of senses from their respective objects. Tejbindu Upanishad says that it is a pleasant state of consciousness that observes the mind preoccupied with the impact of objects of senses. So, as mentioned earlier, Patanjali Yoga Sutra beautifully compiles the wisdom spread in hundreds of Upanishad and many other texts in the form of sutras, and we can actually trace Patanjali Yoga Sutra in the Upanishadic literature as well. These are some examples. In the Shandilya Upanishad and Darshanopanishad, there are 5 characteristics given about Pratyahara. 1. It is forcible withdrawal of sense organs from object of sensual pleasures with which they interact. 2nd, looking upon everything as one sees as Atman, as true self, that is the outcome of Pratyahara. 3rd, giving up desires to attain the fruits of one's action, that is Pratyahara in action, turning one's attention away from all material things and thoughts, that is another sign of Pratyahara. And 5th is projection of vital energy, what we call prana, the pranic energy or vital energy, and mind on the 18 vital regions of one's body by shifting attention from one point to another. David Frawley very beautifully summarized that Pratyahara happens at 3 levels: at the physical level, at the level of mental impressions, and at the level of our association. Physical levels, it is most connected to ahar, our food, or whatever we take as food. So, that can be the sound, that can be smell, that can be of course taste, and the stuff we take inside. Impressions, these are mental ahar, mental food, which bring in the subtle substances necessary to nourish the mind. So, emotions, sensations, thoughts, these create impressions, and these are also connected with the physical food. These can be independent of the physical food or physical aspects of the life as well. They can be more abstract, they can be more into the subjective experience, that also come under the purview of Pratyahara, that also needs to be controlled. And third is Pratyahara at the level of our association. People we hold at the heart level who serve to nourish the soul and affect us with the gunas of sattva, raja and tama. Our association with the different people also brings some samskaras or some impressions. These impressions can be sattvic impressions or related to illumination, light, knowledge, activity. These impressions can be related to rajasic impressions, that can be about ambition, about expansion, about intense activity. These sanskar can be also tamasic in nature, which is more like inertia or inactivity. In our relationships, we keep accumulating these impressions. Pratyahara, that is why, has to be performed at all 3 levels. We need to control our physical food, we need to have Pratyahara or anti-ahar at the impressions level, and we also need to have anti-ahar, Pratyahar at the level of our association, our relationships. Pratyahara is twofold. It is level 1, it is about controlling the inappropriate impressions, physical food and association, and at another level attracting and absorbing right food, right impressions and right relationship or associations. But the process of Pratyahara is about going within, centering, and we are going to look at that. So, in the form of in our senses, controlling our action, controlling our vital energy and withdrawing our mind from the senses, enjoying from the outside. Let us look at all these Pratyahara. Let us look at Pratyahara or control of the senses. That can be done by focusing on uniform impressions, by creating positive impressions and by creating inner impressions. This is beautifully explained by David Frawley. He explains that many times, because of the uncontrolled food intake, that uncontrolled can be in the form, can be because of the poor timings. Because of this uncontrolled, unregulated food intake, we suffer indigestion. When we suffer indigestion, what is generally recommended? We are asked to control our food intake or take that food which is uniform. So, we take khichdi in all parts of India. At least we are aware that when our digestion is not good, we are recommended some or other form of khichdi, which is generally the combination of pulse and rice. Nonetheless, in the situation of indigestion, we are asked not to take variety of food, but consistently one type of food, only limited to certain fruits or certain form of grains in prepared in a specific way which is devoid of oil, which has less of spices, etc. In the same way, our our mind also sometimes feel indigestion because of over exposure to the senses, over indulgence in the senses, over being because of this mental indigestion, we can feel unhealthy within ourselves. So, if I have to get rid of this mental indigestion, what is the way? Pratyahara is the way. How it is done? By focusing uniform impressions, meaning we do not let our mind wander in 10 different directions. We can focus on one thing. We can focus on tree, we can focus on flowing water, clear water, we can focus on sky, we can focus on Akash, we can focus on our breath, we can focus on our senses, and by focusing on uniform impressions, our mental indigestions comes under control, and as a result of that, our agitated mind becomes calmer, and only calm mind can perceive with clarity and make right decisions, right which is right for not only for ourselves, but good for others as well. That is about focusing uniform impression. Then comes the next stage in the Indriya Pratyahara is creating positive impressions. Positive impressions can be attained through many practices. You must have seen prayers in various religious places or spiritual places. That is a way of creating positive impressions. If you look at prayers, they all talk about well-being for us, well-being for others. They all are about submitting to some supreme power which is embodiment of all good qualities. Prayers are also about asking to imbibe the best qualities, best humanly qualities. So, these are the ways of creating positive impressions. We have also seen kirtan or shabad. These are the methods of creating positive impressions, because either we are remembering the great divine qualities of the Supreme, or we are asking Supreme to give those qualities, the quality of compassion, courage, wisdom, self-control, doing good for others, altruism. We ask for those qualities. So, in this way we are creating consistent positive impressions. That is the second aspect of Pratyahara. The third aspect of Pratyahara is creating inner impressions just by focusing on our sensations. You can do it and experience it right away. If you are watching this video, just start noticing and take your attention to your toes. Wherever you are sitting, just bring your attention to your toes. You must have noticed that your sitting posture must have become better. Now take your attention from your toes to your ankle. You can start this process with the right leg. You take your attention to the toes of the right leg. Now take your attention to the right ankle, right calf muscles, right knee, right thigh. Then you can take your attention to the left toes, left ankle, left calf muscles, left knee, left thigh. Take your attention to the stomach. Notice the movements going on in the stomach with breathing. Then you can take your attention to your chest, and if you wish to, you can close your eyes as well. From the chest, you can take your attention the right shoulder, relax your shoulder, left shoulder, relax the left shoulder, neck, face, top of the skull. Notice your breath. Now you can choose any sensation in the body from toe to head and be with that sensation. Even this simple practice would have brought some level of calmness within ourselves. This is an example of creating inner impressions. This is one way of doing Indriya Pratyahara. There is a vast field of knowledge and practice called Vipassana. Vipassana beautifully uses this practice. Vipassana incorporates Pratyahara into it. Of course, it is more than Pratyahara, it is Samyak Gyan, it can be Samyak Samadhi, it can lead to Samyak Samadhi, but Vipassana very beautifully starts and take into account of the process which we study in Pratyahara, because it starts with focusing our attention to one or few sensations in the body. So, this is the Indriya Pratyahara. Very famous mudra or practice for Indriya Pratyahara is Yoni Mudra. In the Yoni Mudra, we make the hand posture as mentioned in the, as shown in the picture. The index finger on the eyelashes, close our eyelashes, we put thumb on the ear openings, we close it with the sufficient pressure. We also put other fingers on our nose and the right below the nostrils. We focus on our breath and we continue to be in this posture and count the breath to 21 times minimum. That is a quick method of performing Indriya Pratyahara. Then there is a Prana Pratyahara, control of prana, control of vital energy. This is preparation for the Pratyahara. In fact, the prana is gathered by taking our attention from the toe to head and then centering our attention on maybe in the stomach or between the eyebrows. In this way, we can perform Prana Pratyahara or control of prana. Karma Pratyahara is about control of action. This involves Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is deeply connected with our action, with our work, with our career and with our career choices. In nutshell, Karma Pratyahara is doing action necessary to life and avoiding those based on desire and self gratification. That means looking at action or decision, whether it is arising from my desire, my lalasa, or because of the sense of duty and for the well-being of all. Swadharma and Lokasangra. We will be discussing these terms in the upcoming sessions, but Karma Pratyahara is about controlling action and directing it towards the dharma, and dharma is not religion, dharma is sustainability, dharma is harmony within and without. Whether my action is arising from that and leading from that, or it is arising from my desire, self gratification and leading to desire and self gratification. That is the control of action. Mano Pratyahara is withdrawal of mind from senses. Yoni Mudra can be helpful in Mano Pratyahara as well, because when we perform Yoni Mudra, we are not only controlling our indriyas by focusing our breath and focusing on the movements in the stomach, we are also performing Mano Pratyahara, withdrawal of mind from senses. Mind is the rein through which the horses of the senses are controlled. Rein is held by the mind, rein is held by the intellect or buddhi, rein itself is man. So, indriyas or senses follow man. It is also compared with the honeybee, queen honeybee and the worker honeybee. Queen honeybee is like man. Wherever queen honeybee sits or goes, that is where all the worker honeybees go and make their nest there. In the same way, wherever our mind goes, our senses follow that. That is why you must have noticed that many times your senses are here, but you are not able to see what is going on here, because your man or mind is somewhere else. That establishes that indriyas follow man. Mano pratyahar is done with the help of breath, with the help of attention. That is why even in performing asanas, we do little bit of pratyahar, but there are some more intense practices of the pratyahar we are going to look at in the upcoming slides. A few day-to-day methods of pratyahar are taking digital detox, enjoying a meal or two in total silence, or simply stop talking for a while. Taking digital detox is the modern day vrat or upavas. What is that? We decide once in 15 days or once a month or once a week or maybe 6-8 hours during the day, when we keep ourselves away from all digital instruments and digital ways of being connected with the world. So, we do not use Facebook, Instagram, or do not check emails, do not take phone calls. We can focus, we can do whatever we are doing, but without without using this electronic media to get connected with the world. That can be a very simple pratyahar in the current times. Enjoying meal or two in the total silence. We can experiment that. We can decide that at least one meal a day we will be taking in total silence. So, we will keep our attention on tasting the food and keeping the attention either on the breath. This can be a very relaxing process. I invite you all to experiment that right after this lecture, whatever that you can take that in the total silence. Just focus on the food, on the taste, on other sensations in the body as you are taking the food in, or keep your attention to the breath while eating your meal. This can be a simplest pratyahar which we all can do, being fully busy in the professional life. Another simple method of performing pratyahar is simply not talking, keeping maun vrat for few hours or few days. You will be surprised to reflect after maun vrat that how many unnecessary words we speak, and we can assess that how much energy of ours, energy in the form of thoughts or energy in the form of our words, spoken words, is actually a waste which does not add any value, it only dissipates our energy. So, this is the simple pratyahar we can perform in our day to day life, which is full of action, which is full of engagement in the professional activities or in academics. Through the integrating shamanic and Upanishadic view, Sri Yogendra, who established one of the first yoga center in Santa Cruz in Mumbai, along with his disciples, have made a remarkable contribution on the meaning of pratyahar, which can be very well related to the modern world, he writes that it is a deconditioning of mind from its customary activities towards internalization. Our mind is habituated for something, habituated for certain kind of food, habituated for the certain kind of thoughts, thought patterns, actions, hobbies, entertainments, and so on and so forth. Self growth, managing self, growing in our career, managing our career which result in joy, requires many of our customary activities, many of our habits to be changed. Can we change our habit directly just by intention? Very difficult to most of us. How we can prepare our body and mind to change our habits for the better? And when we say our habit, it is not only about hobbies, it is not only about action. Changing of the habits is also changing of habit of our mind, changing of the habit of our food. How we can prepare ourselves to change our habit? Pratyahara is the answer. There are three practices we can look at. First one is Shavasana. It is classical Indian yogic technique. It is combination of the two words, Shava means corpse and Asana is the posture. How to practice that? The classical Hatha Yoga literature actually does not provide detailed instruction on how to use the technique, and hence the instruction vary between the teachers and the requirements of the students. As a meaning of Savasana is a dead body posture. So, that means the body should be as far as possible tensionless at the muscular level, at the passive or pranic level, and it must be relaxed at the mental level. And how we can do that? We can do that by performing Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra means psychic sleep. It is a state in which you are neither asleep nor awake. If you fall asleep, it is not Yoga Nidra. If you remain awake, then too it is not Yoga Nidra. If dreams overtake you, it is certainly not Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is an amazing state in which there is an awareness of the conscious, subconscious and unconscious field of your mind all at one time. So, it is perfect therapy. It removes many psychological abnormalities and sanskars and help us to become more normal and natural self. It is practiced by moving our attention from different body parts to others. There is a systematic process, there is a step by step process. Sri Ravi Shankar ji, Sri Jaggi Vasudev ji and Swami Niranjananand ji, all three great yoga masters and the gurus of current time have put up the protocol of Yoga Nidra on the YouTube. I will encourage all of you to look at and follow the instructions from there. I have seen hundreds of people who just by following these instructions given in these YouTube videos of these great masters have experienced Yoga Nidra. Ideally, it should be followed by asanas and pranayam, and in the Yoga Nidra YouTube you will get those instructions. So, first you perform your asanas, and you remember we looked at what asanas are more appropriate for what type of prakriti. Perform a set of asana, perform set of pranayam and then go for Yoga Nidra. The technique though is best learned from Guru, not because of any religious reason, but many a time when we are not practicing it under the direct supervision of the Guru, our ego takes over or our choices take over the real process and we begin to end up falling asleep or thinking about other things. So, in order to control our flickering mind, we need a Guru. So, Yoga Nidra combined with Shavasana can be a great Pratyahara practice. Systematic yogic relaxation happens naturally in the Shavasana and the Yoga Nidra. So, it moves from relaxation of the body, then relaxation of the prana or life energy and relaxation of mind. So, the step by step process of Yoga Nidra, in fact Bihar School of Yoga, Munger, and the Swamiji named Swami Niranjananandji, who is currently leading that school. It is a great school, one of the most reputed schools of yoga. He has released 3 sets of Yoga Nidras: Yoga Nidra for the beginner, Yoga Nidra for the intermediary, and Yoga Nidra for the advanced practitioners. In all 3, you will see the systematic relaxation of the body, life energy and mind. You can take help of that. Preksha Dhyan, which has come from the Jain tradition, is also excellent method for Pratyahara. It is propagated by the great Acharya Tulsi, renowned spiritual leader. He has been a social transformer. The term means to observe and experience the internal psychic and vital functions in order to regulate them. We do not focus on regulation, we just focus. Regulations naturally happen. It is quite similar to Western biofeedback technique, the difference being that biofeedback technique is carried without any gadget, while Preksha is done with the help of individual consciousness and willpower. Like Yoni Nidra, Preksha also has a range of techniques for both beginners and practitioners, and it has to be learned under the guidance of the Guru. And this YouTube video is given, YouTube link is given, you can learn more about that.